The sun hung high above Kissa village as 6 women moved gracefully along the edge of the Nyara River. Their bodies swayed like the gentle waves, wrapped tightly in colorful kittenj cloths that clung to their skin as they danced with wild abandon. They laughed softly, their voices mixing with the rustling leaves and the distant calls of birds. Though their steps seemed free, a hush fell over the water when their chants grew louder. The river itself seemed to hold its breath. Only 3 girls had entered the water, but 4 shadows emerged, casting long, mysterious shapes on the sand. The villagers whispered to each other, calling it just a recorded video, yet deep down, they sensed it was a summons. Something old, something restless. Zola was only 19, but her spirit burned brighter than many twice her age. Tall, with rich ebony skin and eyes framed by long lashes, she carried a sharp voice that pierced the silence with confidence, even when her heart fluttered inside. She lived in a cramped flat in Kissa village, sharing a small room with her aunt. 2 fans hung from the ceiling, but only one hummed softly, while the other remained silent. The nights were hot, and the fridge groaned and clicked as it tried to keep cool, but Zola paid no mind. Her world was not about the fans or the buzzing fridge. It was about the thousands of people who watched her on social media, following her dances, her makeup tricks, and her stories of dreaming big. 40,000 followers cheered her on as she swayed to her favorite songs, always promising, "One day, they'll beg me to wear their finest clothes." Yet, whenever her aunt spoke of the future, Zola's eyes rolled with impatience. "Auntie," she said once, "this phone will be my ticket out of here." That evening, under the glow of her ring light, Zola practiced her moves again and again. Sweat traced patterns down her skin, but she smiled brightly into the camera. The light made her glow like a star. She didn't want to stop because away from the screen, she felt invisible. Nia, 18 years old and freshly admitted to Nyara University, lived a quieter life. Soft-spoken and gentle, she found comfort in the pages of ancient books that spoke of queens, gods, and villages long forgotten. Raised in a strict Catholic home, her mother prayed faithfully 3 times a day, and her elder brother, a seminarian, warned her against temptation. "Don't let Zola drag you to darkness," he'd say. But Nia's heart longed for something more. She had the books, the silence, and a secret desire for adventure. When Zola sent her a voice message, "Let's do something hot. Let's break the internet," her heart raced. She looked at her Bible, then her phone, and replied simply, "Okay." That night, hugging her pillow, Nia dreamed of the fame waiting just beyond her reach. She wasn't bad. She was just tired of feeling unseen. Sade, 20 years old, owned a small salon where cracked mirrors reflected the worn fan spinning lazily overhead. She braided hair with swift fingers and joked quicker than her words could keep up. Beneath her fiery spirit lay a kind heart, nurtured by Mama Layla, her grandmother, who believed deeply in spirits and signs. "Masquerades are not just costumes," Mama Layla would say. "They are the flesh of ancestors. Respect them." Saad laughed it off. "Mama, this is 2025. TikTok's world now." Yet, a flicker of belief remained. When Zola showed her the old video of women dancing by the Nyara River, their bodies strong, wrapped in kittenj, moving like the river itself, Saad raised her eyebrow. "River? Are you mad?" Zola smiled. "Trust me, this will go viral. Native, spicy, and bold." Saad sighed. "As long as I'm not the one fetching spirits, I'm in." That evening, as Saad twisted her braids and checked her kittenj in the cracked mirror, a cold breeze tickled her spine. She shook it off. "Old people's tales," she whispered. "Nothing will happen." Meanwhile, Zola lay in her bed, the hot air from the fan brushing her skin as she scrolled through videos. Then she found it, a blurry clip of 6 women dancing slowly by the river, their necks turning like swaying reeds, arms reaching out as if calling to unseen forces. The wind seemed to dance with them, Though no music played, her heart hammered. "This is it," she breathed. "This is how we'll break the internet." She sent the video to Nia and Saad with a message. "Let's recreate this. Gen Z style. Traditional raps but sexy. Midday sun. Ancient yet fierce." Nia replied, "Hope the river doesn't carry us away." Zola watched the river in the video again, heart pounding, knowing they were about to awaken something old and powerful. Zola remembered her mother's warning as they approached. The Nyara River, that river is not for play. It holds secret spirits live there. But Zola pushed the thought aside. "It's just a river," she said confidently. "Nothing will happen." Finally, Nia replied, "Okay, I'm in." The next day, the three friends met again, ready to bring the old video to life. They tied their kittens' wraps low and tight around their waists and arms, painted small white lines on their faces and limbs just like the women in the ancient clip. Even before reaching the river, the hot sun soaked their clothes. They laughed and chatted as they walked. Zola carried the Bluetooth speaker. Dora led the way, swinging her hips and shouting, "Make way for the Queen." Nia, quieter than the others, clutched her phone tightly, eyes darting around nervously. The path to the river was eerily still. The birds had fallen silent, and even the trees seemed to watch them with an unreadable gaze. Yet they pressed on. When they reached the riverbank, Zola clapped her hands excitedly and shouted, "This is perfect." The water lay calm, mirroring the clear sky and blazing sun. They placed the speaker on a dry rock and blasted a loud, catchy beat, fast, sweet, and irresistible. Laughing, they stepped into the cool, clear water, letting it brush gently against their skin. They glanced at one another, sharing smiles before beginning their dance. Edited the video quickly, adding captions, sound effects, and her favorite filter. She posted it with the caption, "Ancient but hot, Nyara River Dance Challenge." She smiled as she hit upload, then waited. Within 10 minutes, her phone buzzed non-stop. 200,000 views. Follows, likes, comments, and shares flooded in. She screamed with excitement and called Dora, who screamed right back. Nia smiled but shivered as a cold breeze brushed her feet. By evening, the video had soared past 1.2 million views. It was trending everywhere: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube. Fans recreated the dance, calling it art and fire. But soon, the comments shifted. Someone wrote, "There's a masked woman at 216. Who is that?" Another said, "I heard drums, but no one was drumming." A third warned, "This is not entertainment, this is possession." More people began noticing strange things. A floating mask, a figure that didn't belong, soft cries in the background, shadows lurking in the corners. Zola laughed off the rumors. "People like to imagine rubbish," she said. But Nia was sweating, and Dora kept refreshing the video, replaying the moment at 216. There it was, a tall masked figure standing silently in the river behind Nia's shoulder, watching them. It hadn't been there before, or maybe it had always been waiting. That night, Zola lay on her bed, clutching her phone, smiling as the views climbed higher and comments poured in. She felt famous already. She played the video again, laughing, unaware that the Bluetooth speaker on her shelf was blinking, turning itself on without a plug or touch. A soft click sounded, and the same river song began playing, but distorted, slow and low, more a haunting hum than music. Heart pounding. Zola turned it off, but then she heard water dripping. She rushed to the sink. Dry. The taps were dry, too, but the dripping continued, echoing from the speaker itself. Shaken, Zola grabbed her phone and left the room without telling anyone. She refused to look scared. Far away, Nia lay on her bed clutching her Bible like a shield. Since the video hit 1 million views, she hadn't smiled. She had seen the masked figure, felt the cold breeze, and lost sleep. As she finally closed her eyes and tried to pray, her fingers gripping the Bible tightened. Suddenly, the room filled with the smell of smoke. She opened her eyes to find her Bible burning, just the edges of the pages curling black like charred leaves. Nothing else was on fire, not the bed or her clothes, only the sacred book. She screamed, dropping it and slapping at the flames with shaking hands. Her mother burst into the room, followed by her grandmother, wearing her wrapper and clutching a rosary. Maya's grandmother fell to her knees when she saw the burning Bible. Her lips trembled. Her hands shook, and she whispered softly, "Allah, Allah has come for you." Before anyone could steady her, she collapsed. That same night, Dora was in her bathroom washing her face. She had removed her makeup and tied her scarf tightly. Humming a tune, she thought about the video again. The small mirror on the wall had a crack in one corner, but she always looked at it before bed. As she raised her face to dry it, she froze. A white mask was reflected just behind her, tall, still, watching. Her breath caught in her throat. Spinning around, she saw nothing but the bucket, the towel, and silence. When she looked back, the mask was gone. She stood trembling for a long time, gripping the towel, unable to call for help. Her voice was gone, her hands weak, her legs cold. By midnight, all three girls had quietly called each other. Their voices were whispers, scared but determined not to sound weak. Maya tried to brush it off. "It's nothing, just small fear. We are strong girls. Don't ruin the vibe." Dora was silent. Nia was breathing heavily. No one laughed. They didn't feel fun or joy anymore. They felt watched. That same night at Nia's house, her older brother, Anis, was reading in the next room when strange sounds filled the air. He sat up, listening to whispers in a language he didn't know. Thinking maybe the TV was on, he walked to Nia's room. The door was open, and what he saw made his knees buckle. Nia was not in her bed. She was crawling on the wall, her arms and legs moving like a lizard's. Her eyes were closed, mouth moving in unintelligible whispers, her body bending in unnatural ways. She laughed softly, then screamed. Terrified, Anis ran out barefoot, not stopping until he reached the church. People heard him shouting. She was on the ceiling. My sister was crawling on the ceiling. The next morning, the video's views kept climbing, but the girls no longer celebrated. They were breathing fast, checking their mirrors twice, locking their windows during the day, and afraid to sleep. They knew now the river didn't stay behind. It followed them home. Early one cold gray morning, Maya and Dora stood in front of a small mud house deep in the bush, seeking help. They had followed a narrow path where the wind barely stirred, and the birds had stopped singing. They stood silently, staring at the closed door. No sound. Dora knocked hard and called, "Out, please help us." Still no answer. Suddenly, an old man's voice, deep, strong, shaking the air, came from inside the house. He began chanting in a language they didn't know. His words were slow and heavy, like drums beating beneath the earth. Then, as if on cue, the sun broke through the clouds, casting long shadows. The girls looked down and gasped. Their shadows were moving independently, dancing slowly in a wide circle around them. The shadows raised arms, turned heads, bent legs. They were performing the river dance. Maya screamed and stepped back, but her shadow kept dancing. The door creaked open, and an old man stepped out. He was bowed, his eyes white and blind, his skin marked by scars, and his hands shaking. Yet his voice was strong. "I am Baba," he said. "And you have called something older than your phones." The girls gasped. Nia started crying. Maya was sweating. Dora stood frozen. The old man pointed at their shadows. "Akko or Joe is not just a spirit. It is a memory. Its pain is truth. The river was its cage long ago. People told its story, but over time everyone forgot. No one sang for it. No one danced the right way until you came." The girls were silent, trembling. "You danced without knowing," Baba continued. "You mocked the sacred. Now the spirit has remembered itself through you, and you must become the story. They began to cry, desperate. What do we do? Maya asked. Baba looked at them, even though he could not see. To make the spirit rest, you must give it what it lost. You must give up what you love most. You must let it go, or be taken. He pointed to Nia. You carry a piece, but you use it as play. Your grandmother's necklace. Give it to the river. It holds her voice, her prayers, her warnings. Nia removed the small necklace from her neck, tears streaming down her face. She kissed it and held it close, then placed it carefully into a small clay bowl in front of Baba. He turned to Dora. You hide behind jokes, but you knew better. Your grandmother told you the truth, but you laughed. Dora reached into her small bag and pulled out a wooden comb, carved with her name, her grandmother's gift before she died. She dropped it into the bowl. Finally, Baba turned to Maya. You live on the screen, your power. Your phone is your power, Maya, but you made the spirit a joke, Baba said gravely. You must give up your phone, your voice, your image, your pride. Maya looked shocked. She stared at her phone, hands trembling. But this is me, she whispered. Then give yourself, Baba insisted. Her lips quivered as she swallowed. Hard, slowly, she placed the cracked phone into the clay bowl. The screen shattered as it hit the bottom. The old man lifted the bowl. The shadows stopped dancing. The air grew hot. The sky darkened slightly, but Baba was not finished. Suddenly, a voice came from the side. It has arrived. It was T, the boy who had shared their video most widely. He had added music, jokes, and lies in the comments, pretending to be part of the crew just to gain followers. He came with his own camera. Baba, Nia, and Dora looked at him, though Baba could not see. You are the loudest, Baba said. You spread the lie far. The spirit wants your tongue. You will never lie again. T laughed. What kind of old school rubbish is this? The old man stepped forward. Give it, or lose it your own way. T shook his head. I'm not doing anything. I'm not part of this nonsense. He turned and started to walk away, but his voice began to fade. Let's get his words broke apart. He opened his mouth wide, but no sound came out. His tongue froze in place. He dropped his camera and fell to his knees. Maya screamed. Dora ran to him. Nia clutched her chest. Baba said nothing. He simply walked back into the house. The shadows began dancing again. The girls walked slowly through the bush once more. The sun was hot, the ground dry, but the air felt heavy, as if something was waiting. Maya held her phone, hands shaking. Nia was quiet, her eyes red from crying. Dora's wrapper was tied tightly. She held a small bottle of oil from her grandmother's shrine. No one smiled. No one joked. They were not there to trend. They were walking toward the Nyara River again. At the riverbank, the sun stood high exactly noon. But this time, they did not laugh or dance or play music. They simply stood, staring at the water. Suddenly, Maya's phone turned on by itself. The camera app opened and began recording. Maya stepped back. The phone sat on the ground, filming the river. Then they heard it, the drums. Low, slow, deep. Just like the ones people said were in the background of the video. But now they could all hear it clearly. They looked at the river. A ripple moved across the surface. Something floated. It was the mask. The same white mask that had appeared in Maya's house. Now, it spun slowly on the river, facing them. From the bushes beside them, a voice spoke. This river remembers everything. An old woman stepped out of the trees. Short and dark, her white hair tied in a bun. She wore a red wrapper across her chest and beads around her neck. It was Mama Nia, the last living priestess of the Alago River. She walked barefoot to the water's edge and pointed her staff at the girls. Her voice was strong despite her tiredness. The spirits have watched your dances. They have followed your shadows. They have tested your fears. And now they have won. She looked straight at Maya. One of you must offer your fame to stop the spirit. Your voice, your followers, your ego. If not, all of you will belong to Alagon forever. Maya looked around. The trees were still. The water was restless. Her heart pounded. She stepped forward, then stopped. Her eyes dropped to her phone. She looked at her reflection in the water. Suddenly, her eyes widened. She saw a vision, herself dancing in the river, but her skin was peeling. Her lips cracked. Her eyes empty. She danced forever, like a puppet without a soul. She screamed and dropped the phone. The drums stopped. The air grew cold. Maya picked up the phone again. She opened all her social media apps, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and began deleting everything. Every post, every video, every follower. Her fingers trembled, tears fell, but she didn't stop. Finally, she dropped the phone into the river. It sank slowly. She knelt and whispered, "I'm sorry." The water stilled. The drums fell silent. The mask sank beneath the surface. For the first time in days, the wind blew gently. A soft breeze touched their faces. The birds began to sing again. The sun became warm instead of hot. Mama, Nia smiled. Now the spirit will rest, but never wake it again. Some days later, Maya walked barefoot through a small town. Her wrapper was clean, but her feet were dusty. She carried no phone. She no longer danced or posted. People asked, "Are you the girl from the river video? Will you speak about what happened? Can we interview you?" But Maya spoke little. She whispered, "Not everything should be content." She kept walking quiet, soft, free. Late at night, in another city, someone uploaded the original video again. They thought it was funny. They wanted it to trend once more. People started commenting, but then the comments changed. "Wait, wasn't she alone in the river? I thought there were only two girls. Who is that crawling behind them? Her face looks like a mask." The screen flickered and then cut to black. In a world desperate to be seen. Some things are meant to stay sacred. Not everything is. Content, some dances, some spirits. Not everywhere you put your camera. Not everything you record. Maya, Nia, and Dora learned the hard way.